Cheers. Good morning. Good morning or good afternoon, I should say, depending on where you are. I'm here, West Coast, Vancouver. If you haven't tuned in before, welcome to the show. Welcome to our video. Hope you enjoy this. Just having a little sip of some cafe de olla. I'm not a coffee drinker. I don't know about you. Personally, I just drink water normally, but it's January. The days are short. And I just felt like today, it's overcast, rainy, felt like a little pick me up. And I happen to have found a little cafe de olla. This is the only coffee I drink. It's Mexican coffee. It's kind of sweet, kind of strong. It's got cinnamon in it and some different flavors. I had a little maple syrup. I'm sorry, not maple syrup, brown sugar, although that is on strike here in BC, so it's very difficult to find. But it's just a nice little brew. And we'll give it 15 minutes or so and see how much I'm popping. So welcome to everybody. And let me know in the comments where you are planning to go this year. What's your next trip? Is it a beach vacation? Comment with the emojis. That's kind of fun. Are you going cruising? Are you doing a city explorer tour? Ski trip, staycation, staying home? Or are you doing something totally different? Let me know below. I didn't put in, car vacation or like driving tours, but that's definitely an option. So let me know where you're going. So with the channel, what I have done is I've introduced channel memberships, and there's 4 different levels. And at the very top level, that is the most expensive one. And thank you if you're considering joining. And thank you as well to the channel members that we already have. If you are considering joining, what I'm doing with the top level, with the World Traveler level, is I'm helping you to narrow down your vacation. I've been to, I think I've lost count. I'm up to about 350 resorts in Mexico and the Caribbean. And just by finding out where you've stayed before and what you're interested in from a resort, what kind of vacation you're looking for, I can often just instantly tell you what might be a good suggestion for you. Naturally, your travel agent can do this for you, but sometimes you want a different opinion. And like I said, I'm just here for information to help you out. Normally, this service would be available through the members, through the World Traveler level, but today we're doing it for free. So jump into the comments below, and if there is a place that you are looking at going to that you have questions about, do let me know. We've got a comment here. Proc is going to Ibiza, Spain, and Jamaica. Nice. I've only been to Spain once. Stayed at the Alua, which is an all-inclusive resort. It's actually part of the Dreams chain. So Dreams, Secrets, Breathless. They used to be under, they called the blanket company of AM Resorts, and now it's part of the Inclusive Collection by Hyatt. The Alua is a very cheap and cheerful, and I mean cheap. It's very inexpensive. It's like $1,000 for a week for 2 people. But you go there and you can factor in maybe eating out some other places. You say you're also looking at Jamaica. That sounds fun. Where are you staying in Jamaica? I'm curious. I've been to Jamaica a few times, stayed literally. Okay, I would tell you, everybody always says, and am I sponsored by these different companies? I am not, and I would not enjoy doing that, because then I would have a list of different things that I would have to be filming. They would tend to do extra stuff for me. I don't want platters of seafood or sushi that I'm not going to eat. I'm kind of a fussy eater, but also I want to experience the resort as you would experience the resort. Don't send me there to review a resort. Give me all of these extras and stuff like that other people are not going to get, so that then I will review the place and you're going to comment and go, well, this wasn't an authentic experience, because they don't have marcasitas, they don't have churros, they don't have Jamaican patties. I want to experience it like you experience it. So I just do this on my own. My first experience in Jamaica was not the best. It was at the former, what was it? The Jamaican Palace, I like to call it's the Jamaican Palace Grand, I believe it was called. I like to call it the Jamaican Palace Not So Grand because it was truly awful. I mean, the sliding doors, the building had shifted so much that the sliding door would shut at the bottom, but not at the top. So you could hear the music from outside. It was moldy and stuff like that. Fortunately, the Moon Palace Resorts took over that location, renovated it completely. It's a beautiful property now. But for my first experience, it was not so good. And look at this. Prague is going to the 𝖳તુԼyi𝖾. Oh, that's awesome. That was my second experience actually in Jamaica. Love, love, love this resort. Like I said, they actually do have Jamaican patties there. The cheeseburgers by the 𝖳તુΛyiL side pool were delicious. A fresh made patty, not a frozen patty. So, just little extras that you get when you're staying at one of those higher end resorts. I feel my caffeine kicking in already, feeling the intensity here. Take another sip. Let's go for it. For those of you who are just tuning in, thank you for joining. And in the comments below, please make a note. Let me know where you are going this year for a vacation. Would love to hear it. And let me know if you have any questions about where you're going, where you've been. Happy to answer those questions. So yeah, Jamaica, the 𝖳તુΛyiL, beautiful, beautiful resort. Have you been there before, I guess is my question. Or do you have any questions about the property? A lot has changed since it first opened. It became so popular. They actually expanded and took over part of the family-friendly Ziva side. It's one of two properties that they have that is co-located where they have a Ziva and a 𝖳તુΛyiL. Ziva is for kids, 4 letters, kids. 𝖳તુΛyiL, 5 letters, adults, easy mnemonic. The first one they did was in Jamaica, and that's the Hyatt Ziva and 𝖳તુΛyiL Rose Hall. And then the second one they did was the Hyatt Ziva and 𝖳તુЛyiL Cap Cana in Dominican Republic, which I'd still have to say is my favorite resort out of every Hyatt Ziva 𝖳તુLyiL that I've been to. And you guys, if those of you who've watched my videos before, you know that I truly love the Hyatts. I think they provide a really solid property in terms of overall value for what you're getting. In terms of the food, beverage, activities. See, I'm already getting ahead of myself. Food, beverage, activities, as well as the service. The service for me is really over the top. It's just always been a great experience. Micah Vindy, good afternoon. So you must be on the East Coast because it's 10 in the morning here. So yeah, welcome. Have not been there before. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, fabulous resort. I hope you love it. If they still do the the cocktail party in the cafe at the lobby, every night of the week they would have a different theme night, and it would be different drinks and different appetizers as well as different music, and that would kind of set the tone for the evening. Also, the restaurant at the beach, they had a steel drum band, and they had a lot of authentic Caribbean dishes. If this is out of your comfort zone, go and try it. Perhaps ask for a very, very small portion. This is a Hyatt. They will do that. It's not just a set plated amount. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone in. For me, a steak, I love having a steak, but honestly, 4 or 5 ounces is plenty for me. I'm not one of these 12-ounce girls. Too much. And it's not like you can bag it up and take it back to your room for the next day. Just ask for a very small portion so you can taste it, or ask for a taster. They will be happy to accommodate. They also used to have a lobster mac and cheese on the menu. That was amazing. So definitely give that a try. Also, there's a lot of places to explore in the island. I didn't do the haunted house, the Rose Hall haunted house. It's a separate location altogether. But the friends of mine who did, some of them really enjoyed it. Others were afraid. and for those reasons, I would not go. But if that's your interest, then definitely. I want to talk for a second. If you've got more questions about different resorts or destinations, let me know. I did do a live video a week ago or 2 weeks ago about some new resorts that are opening up in Mexico this year. And I've got another set video, an edited video that's coming up this weekend, and that's going to have all the different new resorts that are opening up, as well as one that hasn't been mentioned for Mexico, which kind of is flying under the radar right now. And I got to tell you, there's two that I'm super excited about. Then I'll go and I'll tell you the Dreams Estrella Del Mar in Dreams Mazatlan. That's opening up this year. That looks to be pretty amazing as well, because in Mazatlan, they don't really have a lot of 4 and 5-star properties. There's a lot of different hotels, and there's some that are definitely, good value, but they're not really that elevated experience. And by elevated, I just mean, name brand alcohol, sit down a la carte dinners where you're not doing the food trough buffet thing. And even just elevated cuts of meat and stuff like that. That's what you're going to see when you move up from that 3-star to 4-star or even 5-star level. So it's the little things like that that I really enjoyed and that I'm looking forward to seeing in this destination, as well as the new Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. It's too many to remember. Hyatt Vivid Grand Island. This is opening up in Cancun in late March of this year, and super excited. I mean, some of the activities that they've got at this place, I mean, pottery, pastry classes, kite making. Okay, ladies, if you've ever been to one of those paint night occasions where they do, you sit down with an easel and a bunch of paints and a glass of wine. They're doing that at this resort. It's included. How cool is that? And nobody's got to drive later. All you have to do is make your way to the elevator and head up to your room. So that's pretty cool. Beach tennis. I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, how would that work? Fashion shows, pickleball, glow volleyball, tarot card readings. I mean, that's pretty cool. As well as a bunch of different parties and stuff like that. So that sounds like a lot of fun. So I'm super excited about that. But I will tell you in this weekend's video about my favorite resort that I'm most excited to see. But I'm going to leave that as a spoiler. Yardman. Hello, Yardman. Aruba adults only. Awesome. Aruba is in the Caribbean. Aruba and Bahamas are tied for me for my favorite destinations. Which adult only are you going to? I'm curious because the all-inclusive. Oh, sorry, is it adult only or all-inclusive adult only? If it's adults only, then it's the Rio Antilles. I'm gonna guess. Let me know if I'm right on that one. Mike of Indy, where am I off to next? Good question. I do have a cruise booked for later this year, but short term, definitely going to be Mexico. I just actually changed my phone plan. So I now have talk, text, and data to Canada, US, and Mexico all included. And although that's not necessarily a reason for me to go on vacation, I choose it to be. Also, it's going to be pretty crummy here in the next 4 to 6 weeks. I want to say months, but no. Vancouver, we tend to get slightly more rain or as much rain as Seattle. So I want to get the hell out of Dodge. So I will be checking that out for sure. So I'm not sure. I'm thinking Puerto Vallarta, maybe Cabo. I haven't been to Cabo since COVID ended. So that might be kind of fun. But my husband is watching this, so I'm wondering if I should say. I'm thinking, surprise, I'm thinking to do a condo rental, actually, and going for 2 or maybe 3 weeks and kind of getting immersed in the experience and maybe being able to practice my Spanish. Tammy says, pottery, sign me up. Girl, let's go. I would absolutely love to try that, actually. And the pastry classes too. I mean, giddy up. So Dean is saying during the day they have an area on Ziva side. Oh yeah, the jerk chicken, jerk pork, jerk vegetables on coal. Not 100% sure on the veggies. The Hyatts will always have lots of accommodations for special diets and any kind of food allergies, that kind of thing. If they do not have what you need on the menu, tell them and they will make it for you. So I definitely let them know. But yeah, they definitely have vegetarian, vegan options. And the jerk food was truly amazing. John, how are ya? Or should I say, hello. John's joining us from the UK. Welcome, welcome. It's evening for you now, 6 p.m. So welcome. It's dark for you there now. It's 10 a.m., but it's still kind of dark for us here. So we're dreaming of happier places. Yardman says, okay. So yeah, but let me know, was it the Las Antilles that you're going to, or a different resort, or is it just not an all-inclusive? Let me know. Micah Vindy is heading to a Caribbean cruise. 45th and your dad's 75th. Oh, how nice. Okay, my question to you is, which cruise line are you sailing on? And why did you book it? Was it because of the ports? Was it because of the price? Or, what was your thinking on that? Dark and cold. Yeah, I know. It's this time of year. It's really kind of, well, quite frankly, depressing. But look, if you can sit in a room and put on some flashy lights and talk about vacationing in sunny, warm destinations, then, perhaps it all makes us feel a little bit more like we're on vacation and things aren't so glum outside. Nicole, oh, wait, where we missed that? Oh, Nicole, hello. Will there be room for the visitors in the condo? That can be arranged, definitely. Yeah, 2 adults and a baby, we can make that happen, definitely. Oh, and Ashley's coming out to Vancouver Whistler. Let me know. Happy to show you around. That will be absolutely fantastic. Oh, assuming I'm here. We shall see. Anyways, let me know what your plans are. Send me a message in the comments below or DM me for that. So let's talk about for a second staying at these new resorts, because look, when you're staying in a new resort, here's what they don't tell you. When a resort first opens, 90% of the scenarios, a new resort will open and they will not specifically call it a soft opening, but it is a soft opening. What they do is they open it. They have the staff that's been pre-trained, but not necessarily trained and have interaction with clients. So they will, they'll learn the methods and the procedures and all that kind of stuff. But we all know life kind of throws you some curveballs. So what they'll do is they'll do a soft opening. And what they mean by that is they'll open it to a certain level of occupancy. Excuse me. And so they will say, for example, the first week, I've seen as low as like 10, 15% occupancy, sometimes as high as 20 for that first week. And this gives the staff a chance to check out the resort and also learn the ropes. Also, because there's a smaller number of guests that are staying there, management can keep a better eye on the employees and help correct behavior if they're serving from the wrong side, if that's a big deal or not, making sure they bring out napkins, making sure they bring out cutlery, all that kind of stuff, like little basics. If they're having a dessert and they've already used their spoon, to make sure they bring out an extra spoon, just those little things that they don't make or break your vacation, but they make it more comfortable. So this is a great opportunity for them. And then within the next second, third, fourth week is when they'll start to increase the occupancy. So that being said, the first month or so that a new hotel is open, they will likely not have all of the restaurants and activities going. And obviously because they don't want to overtax the employees. Plus, if it's not at full occupancy, why would they do food prep in, say, 13? That's one of my other new resorts that's opening up in the Dominican. The Sunscape Coco Bay, the Sunscape Coco, and the Sunscape Dominicus. Okay, just want to say, never having coffee again before one of these live broadcasts. I don't know, are you, excuse me, are you a coffee drinker? I'm not. And so when I drink it one of 3 or 4 times a year, it's like steamroller. Hits me pretty good. Micah Vindy saying, been on one cruise. I'm going to share that with experience. Show them Honduras. Okay, perfect. Yeah, and let me know if you know which cruise line you're on. I'm curious to hear. Rue Palace Antillas. Okay, my special tip to you, Yardman, is set some food money aside. There is a must go to place for dinner. It is, I believe it's called Giovanni's or Giovannini's, something like that. It's across the street. So when you leave, so the water's at the front, then there's the hotel, and then you get to the street. And then on the street, there's shops and stuff like that. It's a sidewalk. It's all built up, and it's perfectly felt perfectly comfortable and safe for me. You walk towards the other Rio Palace, the Rio Palace Aruba, and keep going about 1 block. And there's this pasta restaurant, and they have these giant Parmesan cheese wheels that have been scraped out, and they scrape. So when you sit down, you order this pasta, they scrape the extra cheese till it loosens them up, and then they pour in some, I don't know, I think it was brandy or whiskey or something, and they put some, they flame it so that it starts to melt. They pour in some pasta, and they mix it and mix it and mix it and mix it until they can't mix it anymore. And every last strand, my mouth is watering, every last strand of spaghetti is covered in that ooey gooey cheesy deliciousness. It was about 25 US, I think, per person for this meal. They ended up putting this, they twirled it up, like the gourmet chefs do. You see this on the Chopped channel and stuff like that. And they put it on your plate. And I thought, oh my gosh, like that's a lot of pasta. And then he twirled up the next bit, and I expected that to go on the next plate for my husband. No, that went on my plate as well. And then they proceeded to do the same scenario on his plate. So we both had 2 massive stacks of pasta. We could have probably fed the whole restaurant. It was the most delicious meal I've ever had in my life. So definitely recommend that. Set some money aside for it. Double check the prices. Go on Google and double check, see if you can see the menu to see what the current prices are. But if you don't go, you will regret it. We went to Aruba 2, maybe 3 times before finally going to that place. There were big billboards. You'd see the flambe coming out of the cheese wheel, and it just looked insanely delicious. On the last trip that we went to just before COVID, I was so happy that we went and experienced this. It was a true experience, and was absolutely delicious. Okay, Royal Caribbean is what you're sailing on. If it's one of those large ships, the really cool thing there is that you're going to have that inside promenade. So some of the cabins are, they call them interior, I forget the exact phrase, but it's like an interior view. On a normal cruise ship, you have inside cabins, and those are basically within the walls of the ship. Some of them can be a little bit larger, but basically there's no windows. Okay, so if you get a little bit claustrophobic feeling, turn on the TV, at least to the bow cam. And that's a double trick. Number 1, because then you feel like you kind of got a window. And number 2, because you get to know, if you keep it on all night long, you can turn the sound down low, because there is, you can hear the sound from outside. But if you keep the TV on, then when you wake up, you'll know if you've woken up at 2 in the morning, at 7 in the morning, or at 2 in the afternoon, because from inside your cabin, you can't tell if it's light out or dark out. So yeah, just a little pro tip for you on that one. On the Royal Caribbean ships, the inside cabins, sometimes what they've done is they've built the interior so it goes right up to some of the top decks. And those inside cabins, they have windows. So there's some hotels like this, the Delta Suites in Edmonton, which probably a lot of you have been to. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But anyways, there are some hotels like this that you'll see in North America, where the hotels that would normally the interior rooms. They actually have a room that's sort of overlooking almost like a courtyard or the interior atrium of a hotel, or in this case of the cruise ship. And you can see all the shops below and stuff like that. So it's quite nice. It's a little promenade that you can see. So that'll be something to look forward to there. Chris is saying, love Jamaica. Couple sends sushi in Ocho Rios. Want to go to Negril? Flights connect in Toronto, Abbotsford, or YBR. Oh, okay. So when you commented the other day, I think it was you who commented that you went to the keg. So I was going to ask if that was anywhere out here in Vancouver land. So yeah, so let me know which keg you went to, because I'm curious to find out which one that you said was good. But yeah, the flights, without having to connect in Toronto is such a bummer, because it's one of my least favorite airports, if I'm quite honest. And what I do now to connect, to make it a little bit more tolerable, is okay, yeah, definitely, you won't regret it, I promise you. Well, unless you're lactose intolerant, and then maybe you would. But anyways, yeah, definitely give it a try. Also, because the Ryus have most all-inclusive resorts have a mini fridge. If you can't finish it, ask them to box it up for you and then stick it in your mini fridge. I promise you, the next day you will still enjoy it just as much. There you go. Gianni's. I knew it was something like that. So yeah, connecting via Toronto, the one trick I have learned for that, and this works whether you're connecting in Toronto or from, Seattle, LA, whatever, anywhere on the West Coast here, and you've got to connect via, New York, Boston, Atlanta, wherever else on the East Coast. Book an overnight. So book an earlier flight. So with that time change, for us to fly to Toronto, it's about 4.5 hours from Vancouver. And then, so with the time change, 3 hours. By the time you get there, it's early evening usually, or sometimes later in the evening. Book a hotel. At Toronto, there are a couple of hotels that are like right at the airport. You almost don't even have to go outside, which is good for this time of year, because unlike Vancouver, pretty much everywhere else in Canada experiences an authentic winter. Whereas for us, the other day I was wearing shorts when I went out to get groceries. So, we're a little bit more temperate here. Toronto, not so much. So book a hotel. And then if your flight's at 6 or 7 or 8 in the morning, that night you can get to the hotel, you can go and have a cocktail, maybe something to eat. And then in the morning, you're right at the airport. You can get up and you can get on your flight and away you go. But if you do the red eye, you're literally walking around like the Walking Dead or a zombie. Especially if you take the red eye, you land at 5, 6 in the morning into Toronto. Try to find a coffee shop that's open. They're ridiculously expensive. We're talking classic airport pricing. And then getting something to eat, equally expensive. The only thing that they've improved on, if you are looking to get into that vacation spirit right away, is they are now licensed from the morning. So if you want to have a Bloody Caesar, for those of you who are joining us from America and don't know what that is, basically the same as a Bloody Mary, but made with clamato juice instead of tomato juice. Think of this like, it's almost like a michelada in Mexico, where you're getting a beer that's got ice in it and tomato juice. So it's kind of a watered down version, which is a little bit less like drinking a smoothie with alcohol, a little bit more easy to enjoy. As you can tell, a lot of my vacation experiences involve memories of alcohol and food, and of course, utterly amazing beaches. And I've got thousands of photos on my phone to attest to that. Okay, so Jamaica, let me know where else everybody's going. Are any of you planning on going to these new resorts that are just opening up, like the Sunscape that I've mentioned? There's the Sunscapes in the Dominican Republic. There's the new Secrets, Playa Blanca, that's in northern Cancun, north end of Cancun, as well as many of the others. But there's also a lot, with these new destinations, like I said, with the new Dreams Resort in Mazatlan, that's potential for a new destination that you maybe haven't visited before, where you can stay at a tried and true resort. Okay, what's this? Ticino Lion's Mushroom Herbal Tea. Okay, tell me what that's all about, because that sounds interesting. Or was that something you found in a destination? I'm curious. Yeah, Huatulco is another one. There's no new resorts in Huatulco, but look, if that's not been on your radar before, that's really something to consider. January, February time, Mazatlan, Cabo, also even Puerto Vallarta sometimes, and definitely even Cancun can be chilly at this time of year. December, January for sure, sometimes into February can be on the chillier side. But if you want guaranteed hot weather, head on down to Huatulco, because it's so much closer to the equator. You're down basically at the southern end of Mexico. So okay, and that was instead of coffee. Okay, good to know. Good to know. I will definitely mark that down. I will give that a try. Yeah, Huatulco, down at the southern end of Mexico in the state of Oaxaca. It's on a fault line though. So just, bear that in mind. Being from Vancouver, and the same fault line, I think it's the San Andreas fault, as California, we do get earthquakes from time to time. Knock on wood, we don't get any anytime soon, but it can happen, and certainly did a couple of times when we were in Huatulco. You know that feeling when a big rumbly dump truck goes by on the ground and you feel the ground shaking? And I remember sitting on the beach, sitting there drinking a beer, looking at the ocean, just enjoying the view and watching the vendors come back and forth and people swimming in the ocean. And we felt that. And I kind of looked around to see where the truck was. And of course, there wasn't one because we were on a beach. And then we realized it was an earthquake. And I looked it up, and it was 4.4 or something like that. So it was not too heavy, but certainly something that we noticed. Also felt some in the room at the hotel. We were staying at Dreams Huatulco, lovely resort. The chair saving game is huge here. I mean, by 7:15 in the morning, the chairs were pretty much gone, but we did find the one adult pool where we were actually able to get chairs at almost every day. But nonetheless, Huatulco is, on this quainter side, tiny little airport, cheap as chips to get around in a taxi, but definitely worth checking out. So definitely check out some new destinations this year as well. Nicole's saying Flair flying to Mazatlan too, which makes a very reasonable airfare. Yeah, definitely. I mean, with these bargain basement airlines, sort of like Spirit, last year we had Swoop, which is now amalgamated into WestJet. And what's interesting, folks, for those of you who are here in Canada, we've lost Swoop, but WestJet has taken the management decision, or the operating decision, to still maintain some of those low prices. So I was actually looking at using a companion fare, for those of you who don't know, with WestJet. If you get their WestJet MasterCard, once a year you get a companion fare. You pay $400 to fly from anywhere in Canada to anywhere outside of continental USA. And they fly to Mexico, they fly to the UK and a few other destinations. But all over Mexico, if you're flying there, the companion fare is $400 plus taxes. Round trip, I could not find a flight to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Mazatlan, or Cancun. Cancun's like six and a half hours from flying time from here. I could not find a fare that would have made the companion fare valuable. So they've really dropped a lot of their prices for the routes. And this is sort of like spring break time of year, so that's pretty cool. So definitely check them out too, because the difference with WestJet, where you're going into one of these mainstream carriers versus a low-cost carrier, is the mainstream carriers will often have the basics included. So you're not necessarily paying extra for seat selection, or if not available at the time of booking, you could do it at time of check-in. Also with WestJet, especially if you've got the WestJet MasterCard, you can get a complimentary bag check. So there's a bunch of different options like that. Whereas checked bags, even carry-on bags, sometimes with these low-cost carriers, can be an extra fee. So you just want to kind of, weigh the total price at the end of the day. But I also take a look at flight times and also where they're departing from. For me in Vancouver, we've got a couple of options for airports. It's always way cheaper to fly out of Abbotsford. So if you're living in, Seattle or one of the other major cities, or even Toronto, or other places in the US, and you've got the option to go with one of these low-cost carriers, a lot of times they're cheaper is because they are flying out of a smaller airport where there's less fees. A good example of this is flying into the UK. John, if you're still joining us, you'll know this. If you fly into London Heathrow, the fees for the planes to land there, the passenger airport fees are astronomical. So it's almost without exception, unless the base fares have risen so much that it's not comparable, almost without exception, it's cheaper to fly into Gatwick, for example. And I honestly, either option is like an hour from downtown London. So if that's your ultimate destination, or you're flying in to go on a cruise, either way, you're going to have to go into London for a couple of days, or make your way into London to then get to the, Waterloo Station, where you get the train, or Victoria Station, to get the train down to Southampton to embark on your cruise. So definitely keep that in mind. Yeah, so let's talk about low-cost airlines. Yeah. Oh, and it's wave season. Wave season. So what does that mean? That means it's cruise sale season. So if you are looking at going on a cruise, Mike has already got his cruise going on Royal Caribbean. There's a lot of good deals on right now. We're seeing, more and more of the airlines, more and more of the cruise lines are including drinks. More and more of them are including the gratuities, as well as some like onboard credits, which you can use towards excursions. You can also use these towards gambling in the casino, just in case you didn't know. As well as specialty dining. And I mean, the cruise lines have, the great option with the main dining room, but sometimes it's also nice to do the specialty dining. Have a look at the menu. They're all available online, and most of them you can even see before you even book the cruise. Have a look if there's anything you want to see or eat on that menu. And if there is, great. But if there isn't, this gives you the opportunity to maybe try something different. Oh, yeah, and Swifty here is going to Brew Palace, Palmares. Oh, I didn't know you were going to a Rue in Gran Canaria. Look, John, you've been to a lot of Rues. They're consistent. You're going to have your drinks in the room, the alcohol bottles in the room. You may or may not have a totally private bathroom. Usually the older properties, they do, which is honestly a positive for the older properties. And let me just stop here and ask, hands up, thumbs up or thumbs down, closed bathroom or open concept bathroom? For me, that's a hard no. I want a door. And if you want an open door, I say, open the door, right? That's open concept to me. Good enough. But for me, I want a private bathroom. I want a door. I want walls. Don't give me this frosted stuff. So let me know in the comments, agree or disagree on that one. No, the Rio Palace Palmares, I think that's going to be a great option. I'm actually going to go and check that up after this and see what it looks like. But I think that's going to be a great option for you. Are you going to do any excursions, or have you done that to death and this is just a vacation for you? That I'm curious about. So like I was saying, wave season, so lots of great deals on stuff like that right now. If you don't know, ask your travel agent and they will let you know what kind of deals are out there. And look, folks, if you're looking at doing a cruise, I'm curious to see the one that Mike of Indy is taking on Royal Caribbean. But take a look at the itineraries, because some of the cruises have better itineraries than others. There's absolutely no point in going into a port that opens at 7 in the morning on a Sunday and closes at 1 PM in the afternoon. That's kind of a teaser port. It's really like they've put it on the list, but it's not functional, especially in the Caribbean. Most of the Caribbean islands are very religious, so a lot of them will have most things closed on a Sunday. And I know that's kind of contradictory when you've got a massive cruise ship coming in and potential money. But traditionally, a lot of things will be closed on a Sunday. And either way, at 7 in the morning, there's just not a lot going on. You know, at 7 in the morning is not when you're like, hey, yeah, let's get our drink on. I mean, maybe it is, and not, I mean, no judgment. If that's what you're looking for, giddy up. But that's typically going to happen later in the day. And so what you want to look for is those itineraries where it's, a little bit later in the day that they're going to be arriving, or even if it's got an overnight, that's kind of cool, because then you're not panicking about getting back on board. Do note though, if it's a island where you've got a tender, even if you're staying overnight, then you'll have to note of when the last tenders are, because the ports are only operational for certain hours, and then like these people got to go home to their families and sleep and stuff like that. So that can be somewhat of a restriction. I am seeing a bunch of messages that are getting retracted. I don't know what's going on there. I can't actually see. Like, I'm not doing it, in case you're wondering, and I don't know if the system's automatically doing it. So if you're annoyed because your message is getting retracted, I don't know. Send me an email or a message, and I'll have to check into that, because I haven't had that before, and I'm seeing it. Yardman, unless you're being naughty. But if you're not, then I apologize. I don't know why the system is automatically doing it, but just know it's not me. It's a YouTube thing. And it's probably one of those automatic things. If it thinks that something is untoward, it will automatically retract it. So I really don't know what's going on there. But anyways, let me know. Yeah, very, very expensive to go to Heathrow. Definitely. So I'm just trying to see. No, I can't see all this other stuff. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, with the other comments, but weird, whatever. But just let me stop right there. If you are enjoying this, like the banner says below, if you're enjoying this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe, because that way you won't miss out on future videos. Just doing that hit the little thumbs up button on right below the video there. Huge. It really, really helps out the channel. So please do that. It doesn't cost you anything. All you have to do is click on it, and it really helps. And then, like I said before, if you want to become a channel member and get a little bit more BTS, behind the scenes, I know the lingo, whenever I'm taking a trip, or even like local Vancouver stuff, if you're considering doing an Alaska cruise, I'm going to do a series on some what are the best hotels to stay at up here in Vancouver, as well as I'm going to do another foodie tour of Vancouver. For those of you who are in America, it's like a 25% sale off right now, because our dollar is worth so much less than the US dollar by comparison. So literally it costs you, as of this morning, 74 cents to buy $1 US. So if you want to go to High Steakhouse or Morton's or McDonald's, doesn't matter what your proclivity is, whatever you're interested in, or any activities or tours, or even the really, really expensive hotels, when you're knocking 25% off those prices, that's pretty enticing. And John, if you're interested in coming to Vancouver, I don't even know what the exchange is to the pound right now, but you guys are always ahead of us. So, oh, but you've been many times, so you know the drill. Cool. So yeah, do consider giving us a thumbs up. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, do click on the information down below. You can sign up for that. And with that, you'll get extra access to different comments and different special member posts, member polls, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more community stuff. But I do still love all of you guys who are commenting and participating in our daily, we try to do daily community posts almost every day. John's a huge contributor to that, as well as, Chris has commented on a few different things. Mike of Indy has commented before. So we got a lot of regulars here. And Tammy, definitely another one who's always a contributor. Dean's saying 74 cents to buy $1 Canadian. Yeah. Oh, which hotel would I recommend? Good choice. If you want a really nice hotel location-wise, I would go with the Westin Bayshore because it's right at the foot of Stanley Park, and that is a must-see if you're coming to Vancouver. It's actually one of the largest parks, natural parks and natural rainforests in Canada, in North America. It's larger than Central Park in New York City, which you may not have known. That's a fun fact, fun trivia question. And you definitely would want to do a hop-on, hop-off tour in Vancouver. Takes you all around to all the sights and scenes so that you can see everything. And of course, like it implies, you can hop off at any of the spots and then hop back on whenever you like. You're going to get a 48-hour pass, and that's good to take you around to all the different hotels. Westin Bayshore is an older property, though. If you're looking for something newer, then I would say one of the Fairmonts are one of my favorites. I like the Hyatts as well, the regular Hyatts, not the, I love the Ziva and Zolaris, but since my corporate days, 15, 20 years ago, I've always enjoyed staying at the Hyatts. So those are definitely solid options. But you know what? There's even there's Holiday Inn Expresses, there's Delta Suites, and those are all solid options. I will say, for an average night in Vancouver, even at a Holiday Inn hotel and suites, you're probably looking at $250 Canadian and up from there. So, that's definitely something to consider. If you are not leaving the downtown core area, I wouldn't even bother renting a car because it's easy enough to get around on transit. And often with our transit lanes and stuff like that, you can get around easier because you're not bogged down in the commuter traffic. So something to consider. John saying all those retractions, the message retractions, it was the system. Okay, good to know. I'm going to have to get on to the YouTube folks and find out what's going on with that. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so yeah, thanks everybody for joining. I think we're going to wrap it up from here, but we are going to continue doing these live every Wednesday. So if you are interested, join in. We will sometimes have specific topics, but sometimes we're just going to generally talk travel because that's a whole lot of fun. And I know you guys love traveling. I love traveling. So lots of stuff that we can talk about. But thank you for, and I must stop. Okay, New Year's resolution. Stop that vocabulary. No more filler words. Okay. So thank you for tuning in today. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. I was going to try to see if I could gift out some memberships, but I can't see how to do that from within StreamYard. So leave that for next week. So next week, if you tune in, I am going to gift out some memberships. I think there's going to be about 5 that are going to get gifted. So if you want to try out the different membership levels, it's an opportunity to get a 1-month free trial on that. Nancy is saying, have I been to the Dominican? Yeah, I've been 5, maybe 6 times. I've stayed, I don't remember the first hotel that we stayed at, which was sort of, more on the cheap and cheerful side, but I have stayed at Secret. Oh yeah, I've done all the Dreams resorts. I've toured the Sunscape resorts. I've toured the Breathless Resort. I've stayed at Secrets Cap Cana. I've stayed at Sanctuary Cap Cana. I've stayed at Hyatt Zilara Cap Cana, which is co-located with Hyatt Ziva Cap Cana. And absolutely, beautiful beaches, beautiful people, some really interesting foods, and just very, very pretty, very photogenic. Going to Punta Cana tomorrow. Nice. Okay, well, first of all, which hotel are you staying at? Because the Dominican, the resorts, just for quickly answer this, Dominican resorts tend to be fairly spread out. They used to have a rule where no resort could be higher than a palm tree. And so that changed about in the last 2 or 3 years, since pretty much since since Sanctuary Cap Cana changed their building. They did a renovation on it, so it would have been around 2018, 2019. So now the newer builds are going to have higher floors. Before they would be like 3, maybe 4 stories tops, which meant that, and because it's like Canada, it's so spread out and wide and lots of space, the rooms tended to be bigger and stuff like that. Restaurants, staying in a condo, Nancy, I haven't done that in the Dominican. I've done the condo thing in Rarotonga. That's not really going to help. I've done the non-all-inclusive thing in Puerto Vallarta and Cancun, and in other, and also done the all-inclusive thing, but gone to other restaurants in other areas, but not, unfortunately, in the Dominican. Everything tends to be so spread out there that unless you're in the Bavaro, or what most people say Bavaro, but it's actually Bavaro, is the correct pronunciation, region, that's where you're going to have a lot of nearby shops and restaurants. There's even an IKEA, which is kind of fun. But I don't know. I honestly, I apologize. I don't have any restaurant recommendations. I mean, we went to the Blue Mall, which is near Cap Cana, and we ate at the Dean, if you're still on, was it the Hard Rock? I don't know. It was one of those chain restaurants, and actually the food was good. Would I recommend that you go? No. I mean, look, when you go to these destinations, yes, you can go to Senior Frogs. Yes, you can go to Cabo Wabo. You can go to, Hard Rock, that kind of thing. Go for an authentic experience. Chances are you're going to pay less, because when you go to those places, you're paying for the name, and chances are the food's going to be better and you're going to get better service. So, if you just want that party atmosphere, that guaranteed, dance on the table experience, Senior Frogs, it's guaranteed going to be party land. You'll be able to hear it from 2 miles away as the party goes. But yeah, Hard Rock, feel shame for not eating local. Yeah, true enough. Although we did try some of the local dishes at the resorts, like mofongo, which is mashed up plantains, which is the Caribbean bananas, but they're a little bit more meatier. So yeah, just look for some of the local dishes and, and see what you can see that way. But yeah, try to eat local, because I just think, like I said, you're going to get a more authentic experience. You can stick within the tourist areas so that you're not off the beaten track, what's comfortable. And certainly, at the condo, you're probably going to have a pool there, common areas. So, ask the other residents what they recommend, because, they're staying there, they're living there. They can definitely give you some options on that. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. Like I said, next week we're going to be giving out some memberships, so feel free. Hope to see you there, and you can experience that. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in. Go ahead. Don't be afraid. Just hit that like button. You can do it. And like I said, it really does help out the channel. And if you haven't already left a comment, leave one below. And if you comment on the feed after I've left this video, I will still respond, so you'll feel free to comment there. Also, my contact information is in the video details down below, so feel free to reach out to me that way. And hey, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. So bye for now.